Hi Charlie, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Eric. How
We're
about
here
yourself?
I'm doing well, thanks. Charlie Hall from Texas A&M University. Charlie, you're a well-known and successful economist, and probably other things. We're talking about greenhouse sustainability, and obviously, for something to be sustainable, we also have to consider profitability. Can you talk a little bit about how the two relate to each other?
Yeah, in fact, if you look at the not the official definition of sustainability, but the unofficial definition of sustainability, many people define it as people, planet, and profit, that three-legged stool. And you got to have within a sustainable business a well-grounded plan for producing plants, in our case, producing plants sustainably, using people who are well rewarded for their productivity, so that's the people part of it, but then there's also the profitability part of it. That third leg of the stool, that profit, is perhaps the most critical, because without it, the other two aren't possible. And you can be the best grower in the world, but if you're not financially or economically sustainable, the whole system falls apart. And I think we saw during the last economic downturn the effect of people not being economically sustainable. We've lost about 15% of the growers in the industry. And generally, here's the neat thing, generally sustainable firms are more profitable firms because they're not taking their inputs, they're very serious about the way that they use inputs in terms of energy and their labor, et cetera, et cetera. And particularly during economic downturns, people are wanting to maximize the output from those limited resources. So it's important for growers or any other industry participant these days to consider people, planet, profit, and maybe not in that order. Maybe it's profit, people, planet, in that order. So the economic sustainability is all about using those systems and all those inputs in a manner that's profitable.
Yeah.
So that's where the relationship comes, and it's synergistic. So in my mind, sustainability equals profitability. Now the interesting thing is that if you consider the buyers in the marketplace, prior to the recession, there was some rhetoric you heard about Veriflora, MPS, and other means of sustainably certifying operations. But during the economic downturn, you heard less of that. And even Walmart, who is kind of one of the primary instigators in the sustainability consortium, has been surprisingly quiet for the most part in terms of their demands on the part of growers for proving that they're sustainable. But I think that's going to be changing in the long run. I think we're going to be seeing more emphasis placed on Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart buyers on sustainability, and growers that are positioned now to prove their sustainableness to their buyers are going to be in a much better position than those that aren't.
So as we look into the future and greenhouses that are embracing sustainable production, do you think they're going to have an edge in the future?
Well, I do. What's interesting in the surveying growers on their sustainable practices, there are certain practices that the vast majority of growers are already doing, but there's other practices in which very few growers are actually embracing at this point. So while we are the green industry and perhaps we've been doing things more sustainably than other sectors within agriculture, we still have a ways to go in terms of being more sustainable in the future. So even though it's not a requirement on the part of growers to maintain some sort of sustainability scorecard, those that are already starting to measure metrics and record them on a sustainability scorecard are going to be heads above the rest of the folks in the industry. So
Interesting.
You got to pay attention to not just what's happening today, but what's happening in the future.
Yeah.